Afternoon, guys. Real 111T here. I'm gonna touch on a couple things in this video. First, real quick at the beginning, good prepping storage container for around the house. You know, you see 5-gallon buckets a lot, and you can go down to the store and you can buy them, or you can get free ones from bakeries. You know, people are always touting the food grade 5-gallon buckets. Sometimes you're not having food directly in contact with it, just for storage. And something that I've kind of keyed on to is these Tidy Cats buckets. We have cats, so basically every couple weeks, every 2 or 3 weeks, we're buying one of these. And then when we're done with it, you know, you could recycle it, you know, in the recycling, but it's a pretty heavy-duty bucket. It can be used in your preps, and plus they stack well and they fit very well on shelving units, I found, which is pretty good. If you look at the Mountain House 72-hour buckets they make, it's basically exactly the same bucket filled with the foil Mountain House pouches. So there's no reason why, if you kept a couple of these, that you couldn't you know, go down to Walmart and buy a couple every time you're down there for, you know, a few bucks, and fill one of these up with Mountain House meals, and basically end up at the same spot, basically with the foil packs in a bucket. With the bonus is it's kind of disguised a little bit. I usually take a Sharpie and just write in this area right here so I can kind of tell what it is, but from a distance it looks like a cat litter bucket. You have no idea what's in it. You know, we got a bunch of them down the basement, you know. So that's just one point. Now the main part of this video is going to center around this, which is a 72-hour kit. On the cheap, I guess, at least that was the idea, was to go out and make a bug out bag, or an outdoor themed emergency kit. You know, if we had to pack up and leave, you know, this would be good in a variety of different situations. But basically this bag really is kind of geared towards the outdoors, okay, the contents of it. So, you know, when Eat Carbs is sitting there, you know, you're making that video about what did you call it, Dirt Time Kid on a Budget, right? That series, I'm liking the series quite a bit, by the way. But this kind of fulfills a lot of the roles of that. You know, you can do a lot of the same things probably with what you put together. Now, as I said in my response on your video, this the price did kind of creep up there little by little as I was putting it together, but I think the overriding thing is to have a plan of what capabilities you want to have in your kit when you start out, okay? And then you don't necessarily have to buy everything all at once. You can buy it a little bit over time. And so basically what I want to do is open this up. I did a written explanation of this on Zombie Squad, which is one of my favorite forums. I got a printout here that I'm going to refer back to, and I'm going to put a link to that down in the description. But let me open this up and we'll take a look and see what's inside of it. Okay, so here we are all laid out. Alright, now the kit's based on this pack here that I picked up cheap. That was the idea. It's a Eureka Getaway 2500. It's kind of loud, definitely not very tactical, which could be a good thing. But I believe I picked that up for $20. It's a pretty ruggedly made bag. But I picked it up for $20 on a clearance sale at Campmore. Got 3 of them. And just imagine everything you're seeing here in triplicate, because that's basically what happened is, you know, the idea was to put multiple kits together, so I really was being very value conscious, because I didn't want, you know, I wanted to look at this as having different kits to stock around. I didn't want to have to go into my backpacking gear, my camping gear, hiking gear, anything like that. Okay, I just want something I could grab and go and leave untouched while I wasn't using it, and give me a decent capability. So, you know, I've got other better hiking packs. This one doesn't suck too bad. It's a good smallish day pack. It'd be a decent first pack for a little kid. Okay, it does have stays in it and a hydration bladder holder, which we're going to get to in a second. And what I did, one of the things I like about it is it's a top-loading design, which a lot of people don't like that. But there's no zippers to fail on it. Basically, it's all nylon strapping, quick, fast X buckles and cinches, so it's pretty durable in that respect as well. So moving on from that, I lined it with surplus. This is a ruck liner, okay, to make it more water resistant. I don't know if I would really consider it submersion proof, but it was a good kind of cheapy. You know, once again, these came in a 3-pack, so that was perfect. This is the large liner. Basically, it's got you tie it up, and you know, definitely I would trust it in a rainstorm. I don't know if I would trust it, you know, washing down a river. Okay, I want to have a little bit of clothing to help keep me warm. I went down to the thrift store and I found United States Postal Service. I don't know. I thought that was kind of appropriate to bugging out, but it's actually a Columbia sweatshirt. I got at the thrift store for like $2. You know, can't really beat that. You know, and to go along with that, there's like a little acrylic thinsulate hat. You know, not wool or anything like that, but cheap and stowed away, basically. I've got a cheap, not as nice as yours, E-Carbs. Not as nice as your work gloves, but they'd serve. Some cheapo cordage of various different diameters, you know, and I got some flack for this not being 550 cord, but you know, I got it cheap, and this is before 550 cord could be found just about anywhere, so we'll see. That might get upgraded. It's a small amount of duct tape, squash flat, a water bottle with some micropur tablets in it from Emergency Essentials. Basically, this was bought just for this kit. It's not an actual Nalgene, it's a knockoff, but it's a pretty decent knockoff. This is a metal enamelware mug I found. You know, you could use this to boil stuff in if you want to, because it is steel, but dirt cheap, basically. You know, not stainless steel. You know, that's not even the main cooking kit. This is one of those lead mark aluminum kits. You know, we put this all together with a Trangia burner and the new strap. It was like $30. You know, so it was a great option. It's too bad you can't get those anymore. Gas line de-icer, you know, for fuel for the stove. Some toilet paper. This is one of those Swiss Alpenflage rain ponchos. It's made out of vinyl, not nylon. Smells a little like a shower curtain. But at the time, they were $3 from Sportsman's Guide. 5 for $15 is basically the deal, and that is unbelievable. You still find these, the price has gone up a little bit. You know, I've seen them as high as $10 a piece now, but still, you know, for what you get for something that you're going to be packing away, it's not a bad deal. So once again, you know, that mill surplus, its value has nothing to do with what you pay for it. It's what they want to make off it. It's just a real basic boo-boo kit that's in here. It's got some OTC meds. It's got a like Ace bandage, some Curlix, and some antimicrobial pads. You know, real basic. You know, you can combine that with the duct tape and make a decent, like, kind of a pressure bandage. Some moleskin here, tweezers. You know, and this case proclaims to be waterproof. I don't know. It's definitely splash proof. Okay, on to tools. We got more clipper here. Yeah, this one hasn't seen a ton of use. This is one of my last of the this is like one of the last clippers that they made with the new Mora logo on it, but still the checkered handle. It's a great knife. You know, there was one of these that I've shown in other videos that has seen a lot of use, but you know, going back to like, oh, all this stuff is shiny. This is stuff that's just packed away. All right, you know, there's other stuff that's identical to it that I'm not using, and so I'm pretty familiar with what the capabilities are. So, but that was the idea, to make it cheap enough that you could do something like that. We just got a Emergency Essentials cheapo Leatherman. Yeah, there's not much to say about it. It's pretty much what you expect out of like a Chinese Leatherman. It works pretty well as pliers, I'll tell you that. But I don't expect much more out of it than that. One of these Gerber Sportsman saws. I've carried these a lot. I like them a lot. I know the Bacos are probably better, and maybe even that Corona that you have is better. And I'll be on the lookout for those. But I've been using these for years and haven't had really a lot of failures or a lot of problems with them. It kind of sucks though. This model's been discontinued, and they replaced it with one of the Bear Grylls ones that basically cost $10 more, and I don't know why it costs $10 more. If anything, it's less ergonomic than this one is. It's all chunky, but it's basically the same thing. Yeah, whatever. Times change. All right, so a basic compass, little mini mag light flashlight, a brand new ferro rod with its paint intact. This is what you used to be able to get from Sportsman's Guide, 3 for $15. So yeah, you know, $5 ferro rods are great. I love them. You know, and I've had nothing but good things to say about these ones. They changed the style now, so basically you don't get as good a ferro rod, and I'm done with buying them from Sportsman's Guide. It's just a basic little fire kit. You know, this is pretty old. I don't have any of those little wax balls in there. I got some trioxane, which is kind of a ticking time bomb. That stuff could evaporate on me. But I got a candle in there, some Bic lighters in a sealed package, and then a couple of these Western Family, just regular disposable butane lighters. And then, you know, a lot of the stuff in this kit was out of one of those Johnson & Johnson kits that I doctored up quite a bit. And this is one of the Johnson & Johnson little space blankets that didn't fit in there, but it doesn't really need to fit in there. This is a food kit. It's got one of these lifeboat rations, and a few of the Mount House Pro Pack vacuum sealed ones. Some candy, some cocoa, some tea, that kind of stuff. Enough to last one person for 3 days for sure. And then the other container is this Hydrostorm surplus bladder, basically. I mean, it's new. I didn't buy a used hydration bladder, but they came as a 3-pack. So as you see, it just kind of goes into the theme there. This is a toiletry kit, basic stuff. You know, if you imagine a scenario where, you know, you're not out in the woods, or you might end up in a shelter or something like that, toiletry kit's a great thing to have. You know, kind of maintain your physical morale, basically. So yeah, this is basically what's in here. And like I said, this ended up running about $300. You know, this is the problem when, you know, people always get the idea like, hey, let's start a company to make good survival kits, because all these survival kits on the market are full of cheap junk. This is the problem, is that if you put a survival kit of all this nice stuff together and you price it, you know, $300 was what it ended up costing me. Now maybe you could improve on that with volume pricing, buying your materials, but in the end, maybe you could get the price down, you know, to $300 and you're making a profit. You know, maybe you could do that. But who's going to buy a $300 survival kit, right? Joe Schmo public, you know, doesn't care about this stuff. The guy who goes running down to the grocery store when a disaster happens to buy D batteries and milk, he's not going to spend $300 on this. So it's sort of a catch-22, you know, and some people realize that in advance, and a lot of people, you know, kind of learn the hard way if they try to start a company making stuff like this. I think John McCann has a right starting a company to sell components. I don't really have any of his components here, but if this was built before I even knew who he was, so, you know, he's got a lot of great stuff. He's got probably the best deal on those magnesium bars, the Doan bars that I've seen. He's got a lot of cool fire options there, so you check that place out too. Let me come back in a second. The reason I printed this off is because I'm going to give you some stats about it, answer some questions that people ask me. Hang on one second. Okay, so basically the question is, how much does that weigh, was one of the big questions. And I weighed it at the time. It cost about, it weighs about 20 pounds. Okay. So, you know, that's not incredibly heavy. It's not super lightweight, and that's without the water in it. Okay, so the water would, let's see, that's about 8 pounds worth of water that you could store. You're basically carrying another gallon of water between 3 liters here and 1 liter there. That's about another, 8 pounds that you would be carrying. So yeah, so there's the answer to that. And then they were asking the cost, which, like I said, it worked out to be about, I don't have an exact cost, about $300. So yeah, feel free to check out Zombie Squad. A lot of good people there. A lot of good, emergency preparedness and survival stuff. And I don't know, the philosophy of value was definitely part of this. So this is why I think this is somewhat related to, Dirt Time Kit on the cheap. If I want to grab this and go and just have a weekend out at the property, I could do that. I have other kits that I put together to do that with, but I could. If worse came to worse, or those kits were all depleted and I didn't have any resources, and I really want to go like this weekend, I could take this and, have a pretty decent, weekend of it. A lot of different concerns are taken care of by this kit. And there, obviously, people would look at their situation and think, there's pros and cons. Keep in mind, I put this together a couple of years ago. I don't even know exactly when. Let me see. Wait a minute. This knows exactly when I posted this. Posted Sunday, January 18th, 2009 at 3:23 p.m. So I know what I was doing then. Okay, so the internet never lets us forget. All right, well, thanks for watching. Talk to you later. 111T out.